It is my radio antenna receptor for these things, feeding my unconscious up into the subconscious through the pineal gland into my consciousness. Okay? It's like whoop, 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 whoop. Now, let's take an example. I'm going to say a prayer. Okay? This prayer will be to my spirit.
Right.
Spirit, please connect with my higher self or my overall consciousness block, whatever it may be. Deliver me the proper evolutionary impulses that I need right now to help me through this current situation or help me understand or help me integrate or help me learn from this. Mm-hmm. It will give it to you every single time. Now, when you ask that, don't ask for 1,000 other things because you're going to cloud the radio signals.
Well, it's also, you don't ask with understanding.
Yeah.
So you're asking based off of what you see in front of you in the moment. Its wisdom is eternal. So
yes,
you may have gone through 10,000 meat suits. Mm-hmm. So that ability to be able to discern a situation,
fantastic,
is going to be totally different than what your view on it is.
That's correct. So don't take the first conscious idea that you have, like, oh, this is how I should react. Have a conversation with this thing that resides within you.
And I want to say this really quick because I want people to understand this part because this is what I've been studying a lot and it's really helped me. We all went to college or high school or some type of school. I could look at the sheet really quick, do like cheat notes, whatever, and I could pass the test. Mm-hmm. But did I learn?
Right.
The higher self is going to want you to learn
as much as possible.
So it's going to be that professor that's going to be kind of not hard on you, but it wants you to evolve and learn, not give you, because a lot of us, we want a genie, we want the cheat code, we want to do something really quick, pass the test, and then move on really fast.
Yes.
But you don't evolve doing that. You didn't learn. The whole idea to go to school is to learn, not pass tests.
That's correct.
That makes sense.
That makes it's very, very clear. So when you've made this distinction and you start to do your first amount of practicing, have your prayer, have your conversation with the spirit itself, asking for guidance using the higher self, the overall consciousness block, your mini Akashic record, whatever you want to call it, right? Grab that and send it back to me. Just have that one core focus. Don't ask for 1,000 things. And then try with a silent mind to listen for those impulses. Truly feel with your entire self, not just with your mind, but with all of your senses. You know, beyond your sixth sense, like as many as you can get, right? With all of your perceptions. Look at the world around you. Pay attention at that moment. You will start to recognize how these impulses come through, okay? Once you get good at that, with these first levels of conversation with the higher self, you start to open up the bridge. These impulses will feel more natural. And you'll start to recognize, like, wow, I have an impulse to go do this. Consider that for a moment. And then they will start to compound for you. And then you start to really work into your true nature because you're accessing this unlimited pool, like this totality of evolutive wisdom that comes from creation, right? Because of the spirit acting as that bridge for you. And you're having these conversations. When you advance further, you will be able to have these conversations in meditation.
Yes.
You will not only be able to ask for impulses, you will be able to ask for imagery.
Wait, go ahead. And this is you're right at the 2.0 now, the meditation part.
Yeah.
I want people to understand majority of spirituality that is out there is avoiding the higher self because you want something external to satisfy that something that only the higher self can teach you.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's great that you had contact with the entity. I mean, we're going to get into raw materials, and those were channel materials. That's awesome that happened to you. It's great that Michael, the archangel, came down and talked to you personally. It's awesome that you know, on the way to whatever, God spoke to you. You know, you saw the Mary, you know, the Virgin Mary, whatever. Your spiritual experience, I'll never discount any of those for anyone, especially if it brought you to that. But that, I think a lot of distraction from evolving and learning is caused when, and this was my problem, that's why I'm saying this, was I kept looking for something, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible. I kept looking for all these external things.
Mystical Sufism,
yeah. when all I needed to do was slow down and have a conversation with this individualized eternal wisdom that is Jason Rigby. You know what I mean? Like what I'm viewing it in this time, space, time as Jason Rigby.
Think about you and your actions are like the small waves that hit the beach. Okay? Your oversoul, overall consciousness block, your spiritual personality, your gemut.
Is the ocean.
That's correct.
That's so good. Yeah.
And that ocean has tides. It has an even greater, what I would say, wave pattern, a super wave pattern.
Yeah.
Okay? And you can access the power of that because that shifts everything. But you make small actions within it. But you need to know how to speak to it. You have to be the fisherman of these waters. You need to know how to boat them. You need to know how to read the tides. And then if you go a step further, what's the thing that's driving the tides? That is this thing that affects everybody in their own ocean. That's these outside planetary bodies. That's like the moon. That's like this big stuff. But everybody's connected to it. So this bigger wave, we can all combine into because it's essentially shared resonance at that higher level. But we ignore it because as a totality of humanity, we don't have these conversations using our consciousness to have discussions with our spirit, to ask for these impulses and to learn and to work with them. They're extremely useful.
Well, also the spirit, we'll get into on the next episode. We're going to have to do another episode on this, but the spirit is not bound by this galaxy.
No, it's beyond that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like some people have a leaning towards, like Orion type negative entities have this leaning towards Saturn, and then they take that vibrational energy from Saturn and they, do what we perceive as wicked things or whatever, but service to self stuff.
Yep.
And there's like a whole Saturn cult and all these different things, that the elite play around with. And I don't want to get into that. We'll do an episode on that. But what I'm saying is that's still learning and evolving, and the higher self is still involved. Even though it's going against your free will, it knows that in this meat suit, you need service to self to evolve.
Yeah.
And there's learning lessons in there because we're all asked about Hitler, and he asked about what was Hitler's main guy, the SS guy, Himmler.
Oh, Heinrich Himmler.
Yeah, Himmler. He asked about Himmler, and it was basically like it was a confused entity.
Sure.